Crafty Traveler. I'm in Loleta, California today, and it is absolutely gorgeous here. You'll see the valley and the ocean is not too far away. I'm here for the Scottie Dog Quilt Retreat, and I will be interviewing Brenda Lou Scott and Liz Adams on this video. Stay tuned! We're here at the Bear River Casino in Loleta, California at the Scottie Dog Quilt Retreat. Let's go inside. Entering this quilt studio in the grand ballroom of the Bear River Casino. We'll have about 50 sewing machines and sewists here going to be making the quilt designed by Liz Scott Adams. Hello, it's Lani, Crafty Traveler, and I'm here with two really good friends of mine. I've known them for 17 years, and they are quilt entrepreneurs. This is Liz Scott Adams and Brenda Lou Scott of Scottie Dog Quilts, Scottie Dog Marketplace, and Scottie Dog Retreats. And all that information will be below so you can look them up. Okay, I want to interview them about their life as quilt entrepreneurs. So, Brenda,
Yes.
How did you start quilting? How did you become a quilt entrepreneur?
Well, I actually started quilting at about 5 years old. My grandmother taught me how to quilt. And I always thought I was Laura Ingalls Wilder my whole life. And so in high school I was still quilting, and then put it aside until 1970, I'm not that old. 1976 with the bicentennial. Quilting was getting a revival, and I started quilting again. I had very small children. Liz was born.
I don't know if you mentioned that we are mother and daughter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they are mother and daughter.
Liz was born in 76, and
you just outed my age.
Oh, dear. Well, I'm old enough to have you as my daughter. And along about 1990, I had some friends who wanted to learn how to quilt, and I began teaching quilting, which I was no expert at the time, but I taught quilting in my home. People would come and we would do a sampler, and from that time on, I went from there to teaching in a few quilt shops, gaining every bit of information and skill that I could. I don't say that I'm an expert quilter, but I think I can teach you almost anything, any kind of quilting, any techniques. I think I can teach them well.
I can vouch for that.
Oh.
I can also vouch for that.
So I was in the late 90s, I was teaching in a store that was, I just kept thinking I could do it so much better. Their heart really, they were toll painters, that's where their heart was. My heart, of course, was for the quilting part of their business, and they went on to do other opportunities. And so, but during that period of time, I was attending some quilt retreats. They were away from home, quite a drive, and I suddenly thought, I wonder if I could hold a quilting retreat. And I talked to my family. I had 2 adult daughters who were at college, but they were willing to come home for a weekend to help me do that. And so in 2000, we started discussing that. We came up with the name, Liz came up with the name Scottie Dog Quilts because my last name is Scott, and hers was too at the time. And really, Liz was the success of, I'm mainly just the face.
Don't let her fool you.
She's the label. She's the label.
She's the dreamer.
That's true. I'm the dreamer, and Liz is the problem solver.
I always call myself the producer. I can make it happen.
Yeah,
That's
You
right.
dream it up and I can make it happen.
And I think my family was very surprised that we pulled it off, not just,
We were very proud of you.
oh,
We
well, not just that we pulled it off, but that we did it well, and people really liked
People
it.
came from all over the country for
Yes.
the first
Yes,
retreat
they did.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Eureka, California,
And
and we were really excited.
And when was the first retreat?
In
The spring of 2001.
right, spring of 2001, and opportunities. Very shortly after that, my husband said, well, he's a building contractor, and he said, I wonder if when I finish, he was working on a really big job, and he knew that we would have a little bit of extra cash at the end of this probably 2 or 3 year job. He said, I wonder if we should open you a quilt shop. And I just, wow.
That was before 2000 then.
That was, no, that
that
was probably right after
in-
the retreat.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay.
So-
Would have
okay.
been in the right up, yes, right,
Right
the spring
up-
of 2001.
Right, and a month later, our local quilt shop announced that it was closing. And suddenly, in 2 or 3 weeks, I had a business plan, I had
Fabric was ordered.
fabric was ordered, we got a business license, we got a location to be, I mean, just, it was over, almost overnight. If I'd had a chance to think about it, I probably wouldn't have done it.
It was kismet. It all just
Right.
happened the way it was supposed
Where
to
was
happen.
the quilt shop?
It was in Eureka, California,
Right.
which is where we lived at the time, and had,
I lived in Citrus Heights at the time.
That-
I was
right.
in college and was not here.
so,
Right.
but we went ahead and had a retreat in the fall. My daughters again came and did all the hard behind the scenes work, and Liz had,
I was in college at the time, and I had a back injury that required
Right.
several surgeries over a few years. And so my life sort of stopped all of a sudden. And for someone in college who had a trajectory, to be afflicted that way and suddenly not know what was happening and needing to get my health back in order,
Right.
I was sort of a little bit lost almost, and dealing with some major pain. And
Sure.
she had just opened a business and was trying to come down to be with me when I was in the hospital and back and forth. And I found myself with a lot of recovery time. It was a very serious injury. It was
Sure,
a lot of
sure,
recovery time
sure.
in between surgeries. And I found myself in that quilt shop to heal, which could you find a better place?
No.
And what was very interesting, I would never, ever have expected, at this point, this is what I would be doing with my life. I would have laughed if you told me that. I thought sewing was stupid when I was a kid. No interest. I thought it was cute that these ladies came to our house and made quilt blocks, and I went, very pretty when they showed me. But thank you, no, I'm not interested. But being there, I fell in love with quilting. I fell in love with the people. But more than anything, I was a business major. And I looked at this business and said, this is really fun, but I'd like to do this, 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 and this as well. And I
it's
joined
so-
the business.
It's so good that she did, because my husband runs his own business, but a quilt shop is a totally different business from most others. It's not just a retail store. It relies a lot on personalities
Right.
and business, and I fall short there.
And my
so-
strengths are in marketing, and her
Right.
strengths are in that she knows people in this
Right.
industry. She knows what people are looking for. She knows what they want. And between the two of us, it just really made a perfect partnership.
And
And we get along really well.
which
we like to be
which
together.
we did not when she was a teenager.
No,
you know,
no.
we
Well,
had-
but that's the mother-daughter
It is.
thing.
But
you know.
we have talked a lot about a family partnership over the years, because that can present problems.
Oh, sure.
And we have from the
well,
very
and
beginning.
there were a few bumps in the road,
Well,
but we
and
worked
one
them out.
thing I always tell people when they're in a business partnership is we are best friends, but we still had a written agreement
We
and a
did.
written partnership,
Yes.
because when you do that and you lay out your areas of responsibility and that person's areas of responsibility, it just flows really well. So that's, I believe that's one of the reasons, even though we are so close,
Right.
we do have such a strong partnership, is we've always had a very clear plan as to who does what in the business, who handles what, but
how you're compensated.
Exactly.
All those
Exactly.
things.
And I think that's really important no matter how close you are in family partnerships, because it does prevent problems from arising.
Right.
And what I find really interesting as far as the business is, while we are very opposite personalities, our preferences in fabric, things like that, vary quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
When we sit down to order fabric together, there is an unspoken language happening between us, and it still to this day should not, but still surprises us that we know exactly what we're ordering out of 5,000 swatches we just saw without speaking a word to each other.
Wow.
We're very in sync in that way from the business end of things.
And our, in the business, the movers and shakers and the sales reps and all that, they don't understand that. They think that we should be at odds.
Yeah, well, because that's just maybe not quite as
Well,
as
because they've
normal.
seen that in other
Yeah.
partnerships.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But
sure.
we enjoy working together very
We
much.
actually, when we did have the store, we were together 5 or 6 days a week, and then on our days off, we would do stuff together.
What are you doing today? Want to go to the
Well,
movies?
exactly.
So
Exactly.
we became best friends through that.
Well, that was one of my favorite stores, and you closed the store when?
In 2014.
2014.
And
We closed the brick and mortar store. We did
Right,
not close
yeah,
any other
right.
part of it.
And so we had quilting retreats all those years, 2 or 3 times. There were a couple of years we did 3 a
Right.
year. And we did some in-store.
And there was a couple you only did
Yes,
one a year because
yes.
when you had a grandchild.
There were
or-
babies, there were weddings, there were deaths. That's
I
part of
know.
the family.
I've been coming to the quilt retreats since the fall of 2002.
Okay.
You've been
And
with
I-
us pretty much since the
And I've
beginning.
missed 4,
Right.
due to trips
But you've
and
had the
such.
same thing. There's funerals, there's
Exactly,
babies, there's
exactly,
marriages.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Life happens.
And I remember you telling us one time some funny things that people would ask for
In the quilt shop?
store. Yes.
Yes.
Could you tell us a couple things?
I think probably the most common thing that we're asked that's funny is, do you sell other kinds of quilts besides Scottie dogs? Do you sell dachshund quilts? Do you sell Lassie, collie quilts, and things like that?
We had a supplier of fabric. I was talking on the phone, and they said, "So, do you make dog beds?"
And to clarify, we do not sell quilts. We sell supplies and teach people how to make quilts.
Right.
And so sometimes people were surprised by the name. Another funny story: many quilters are familiar with Tudos. Tudo sewing machine carriers are the sewing machine carriers on wheels.
Right.
But Tudo, as a brand, actually makes lots of pet carriers.
Okay.
And the very first time we ordered from Tudo, we had met them at Quilt Market, thought they'd be a great supplier for us. We made an order for several sewing machine carriers, and I got a call. I put in the first order. I got a call from there in San Francisco, from Angela at Tudo, and she said, "I think I made a big mistake. I'm really sorry. I didn't realize that you wanted dog carriers. I sent you sewing machine carriers, and I'm going to need you to refuse them and send them back to us." And I said, "No, Angela, we do want sewing machine carriers." And she said, "But you're a pet business." I said, "Nope." And it was a good thing for her. She found out that we
That's
did in fact
hilarious.
want sewing machine carriers, not dog carriers.
Hilarious.
I did have a woman call on the phone once she lived in the Bay Area, and she wanted her Scottie Dog bred. And she insisted that I could lead her to a dog to breed with her dog. And I kept trying to explain to her, no, we're a retail fabric store. And she said, well, why are you offering to breed dogs?
Well, when you go and you Google Scottie Dog
Right.
something, that's what
That's
comes
what
up
comes up.
first. Yes, so
And-
you have to make sure you have the right website
Right.
to look
Yes.
up their supplies.
When you choose a name for any kind of business, you have to think, I think you need to pay attention to it. And we came up with Scottie Dog Quilts. At the time, the President of the United States had a Scottie Dog.
Uh-huh.
They've been quite popular over
Right,
the years,
right.
and my last name is Scott.
Exactly.
And there was no other Scottie Dog Quilts. And so we actually became famous just in that sense of people could remember, oh, Scottie Dog Quilts.
Right, right.
And because of that. So that was really, we enjoyed having that distinction of a name that was easily remembered in the quilting world.
Yes, yes. So you closed the shop in 14.
Yes.
Yes.
And you moved to Minnesota.
We did.
Tell us about that.
Well,
Whoever thought that would happen?
I know.
Not me.
I believe it was 1999. My other daughter, Becca, went away to college and met a young man and married him and stayed in Minnesota, which is far away, and
They have a lot of snow there.
they have a lot of snow. But one by one, they began having children. And I have a grandma's heart, and I would spend 5 or 6 weeks every time she had a baby, and then maybe another couple of times during the year. And my heart was being stretched between both places.
Because Liz was here.
Liz was
with
here.
her family.
Yes.
With her
Right,
daughters.
exactly. And we had a business, and
Right.
we had a life that I just loved. And
It became hard though.
it was hard.
It was also, we had another sister.
Yes.
And Sarah, and she was very, very special to a lot of the women in the
Yes.
quilt shop,
Including
and
me.
very special to those retreats. And when she passed away completely unexpectedly, it really hit us very hard.
Sure.
And we were okay until then that Becca lived in Minnesota, but there was a yearning after that. We wanted our family together.
Yes.
And that became kind of the dream of how could we all be together, you know?
And we didn't really expect to move to Minnesota.
No.
I don't think we thought that was in the realm of things until Liz's husband graciously said, "All right, I'll move to Minnesota."
He was the holdup for a
He
while.
He was.
He's lived in many places in the U.S. and he didn't have any desire to go back to a cold state,
Yeah.
and I can understand that. But he is a wonderful guy, and
He absolutely
graciously
loves,
agreed.
Yes, and he loves Minnesota. I think he adapted faster than any of us.
We are Californians, and we always will be. I call us Californians living in Minnesota, but and we miss it here very much,
Yeah.
and we miss the people. But we also do really enjoy Minnesota.
Yeah.
We have
Oh.
found it to be a wonderful place.
So you closed the shop, moved to Minnesota, and you moved the shop.
I did. Well, we
To Minnesota.
dropped the inventory down
Right.
very low,
Right.
and I wasn't sure if we would open another shop again. During that time that we were in business from 2001 to 2014, the world changed a lot in how we shop, and more people were shopping online. And I knew I could not get out of this business. I knew that it was in my heart, and this is where it was. I thought maybe it might be fun to punch someone's clock for a while, but I found it wasn't.
Right.
And I knew I needed to be in this business forever. So
And I was going to say, in 2014, when we closed the store, I retired.
Yeah.
And happily, I was very happy to step out of the business, become the grandma.
you had 6 grandchildren by then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I now have 8 grandchildren.
Wow.
I think that's all I'm going to have, but I love
Never
every
know,
single
you
one of
never
them. They all live within about 15 minutes of my house, and I'll drop anything to do anything
Yeah,
for any of my
yes,
grandkids.
yeah.
And so I have happily spent my retirement with my grandkids, my kids too, of course. And I
And
get
you
to
get to
quilt.
sew whatever
I
you
sew, I
want.
sew all the time.
And you go to retreats.
She does graciously make herself available anytime I need extra
yeah.
help when we
Right.
get really busy.
So your online store is now located in your basement.
It is.
I've
it is.
seen
Yes.
pictures.
Yes. It's
And the name of it is.
it's still ScottieDogQuilts.com. We decided to kind of move with the times and go online, and that has been really great for me. I miss the day-to-day of the quilt shop very much. However, being online does afford me this wonderful flexibility that I can, when my daughter has something going on at school, I can be there. When my nieces and nephews need their auntie, I can be there. And it's, as much as I miss the amazing day-to-day that you have in a quilt shop with
Right.
customers who become your friends.
Right.
And they really become your family too.
Yeah.
You know. I miss it a lot. However, I've also found you create those same relationships online, and right here at our retreat we have someone that is a customer that buys online from us that saw pictures of the retreats, and here she is, and I hadn't met her in person until yesterday.
So on Facebook, it's Scottie Dog Marketplace.
There's Scottie Dog Quilts Fabric Marketplace.
Okay.
There is ScottieDogQuilts.com. There's also our Scottie Dog Quilts retreat page, and it's called Scottie Dog Quilts Retreats, and that's
And
where
that's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. That's where most of our announcements happen of what's going on. That's where you'll find most action happening. And we will, in fact, I was just telling you, we're going to start a new quilt along next month. We will probably be announcing that in the next couple weeks on there with a live video. So it's free. It does not cost anything to download the patterns for free, as long as you get them in during that month.
And people will find that where?
At Scottie Dog Quilts Retreats. It's a group on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yes.
Okay.
And I can send you a link to that.
Okay,
if people
great.
ask.
The other thing I should mention is the way our business was growing. I, for pleasure, went on a quilting cruise in 2003, I think, maybe 2002. I can't,
Somewhere around there.
With another company.
With another company that had 225 quilters on board a ship.
Right.
I enjoyed the experience, but I felt that it was really, really big. And the two people I went with, we weren't able to meet anyone else on those cruises.
So you weren't able to spend time outside of class.
Spend time outside of class. And so when I came back, Liz, the entrepreneur, says, we need to do cruises.
Yes, that was my next question. Let's talk about that.
I was going to say, they really happened because of you, though, because you kept me going and said, when are we doing it? Because what I found was it was a little harder than I realized to get these happening. And you...
Because I think I had gone on 3 quilt cruises before yours.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you kept motivating me, and I knew that Lani was not going to let me get away with not making this happen. So I hired a travel agent that specialized in quilting cruises.
And she is.
Well, you probably may not know this.
Yeah.
And we worked with her for a little bit, and she was really trying to provide us with a cookie cutter experience, like what you talked about that you had done. And I didn't think it was what our group would like. And so I hunted around, and it was recommended to me that I should talk to a woman named MJ Bryant, who is the best travel agent I have ever worked with.
I'll put her information at the bottom.
If you are going on a trip, this is the woman you need. She's wonderful, and she is the most knowledgeable travel planner I've ever known. And she has, for 10 years now, been booking all of our quilting cruises.
That's right.
And she can book any travel for you. So I cannot recommend her enough for any kind of travel. But she puts together wonderful cruises for us that work really well with groups. And she has, as of yesterday, booked us a new one. We are going to be going to Mexico.
This is an exclusive.
This is. We've not told anyone about this yet because it just finalized yesterday. We will be doing Mexican Riviera out of Los Angeles, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to add a Disneyland day on there because I can't go to LA without going to Disneyland. I think it'd be fun to go with quilters. And but we'll be going round trip from Long Beach, and we will go to Mazatlan, Cabo San Lucas, and Puerto Vallarta. We will be doing quilting classes along the way. And as Lani knows, we just came back from a trip to Greece.
We did Greece and Italy.
And what I have found, our retreats are wonderful. The cruises are like retreats on steroids because it's 7 days of being with other quilters.
Yes.
And having wonderful...
Feeling like you're with your family.
Well, and you have quilting experiences, but you also have these fabulous travel experiences.
We do.
And you get to experience that with them.
And I really feel like we're a family. And it's really great
And
to
you're
have
not
these
strict. I mean,
times.
the
No.
studio is always open to
Yes.
anybody who wants to go in there and work on their project. But if you want to get off the ship and go on
Absolutely.
excursions,
It's
or
very
go eat with
flexible.
your family, or do
Yes.
anything like that, it's free.
We always
to do
say
that.
it's your cruise or it's your retreat.
Right.
You do what you want.
Right.
And we are excited to spend whatever time we get
Yes.
to with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was fabulous. It was hot, but it was fabulous.
It was very hot, yes. But it was definitely, that was the trip of a lifetime.
So
for
we have
me.
cruised twice to Alaska.
We've gone to the Caribbean. We've gone to Mexico before.
We've gone up the east coast of the United States into Canada.
Canada,
for the
yes,
fall,
yes,
fall
yes,
holidays.
yes.
And then to Europe.
To Europe, right.
It was a pre-tour through Italy, and then the cruise started in Venice and cruised down to 4 islands of Greece, and then up to Croatia, which was very interesting, and then back to Venice, and it was great.
We've also been working on for a while, and it's still a ways away, but we will be going to London and Paris, and we'll have a day at Liberty Fabrics,
As
which
long
is
as it's not in August.
no, it will be in the fall. It will be
fabulous,
perfect.
fabulous.
It's the best time because the tourists have gone home, and it's actually It's the best time, in my opinion, to be there.
That-
And we'll have a day at Liberty, and we will learn about Liberty fabrics.
Oh,
and
fabulous.
they are
Do
the
you have a
best.
date?
It's
A
a ways.
year?
No, I know. I would like it to happen sooner rather than later.
Now,
but,
what is the date for the Mexican cruise?
you know, I don't actually think I have
It's
that.
in January.
It is in January. Yes.
2021.
Yes.
21.
We had to
Okay.
book them out very far in advance in order to
Right.
get the group space.
Right.
But also, what's great about that is that our travel planner can set you up where you pay monthly, so that you never have this big
Yes.
bill. You just have this cruise.
Monthly
You just pay a little bit per
payment.
month.
Yes.
And it's wonderful.
And it works out really
she's
well.
really great about that.
So we're here, I didn't mention this, in Loleta, California, at the Bear River Casino, at a quilt retreat, and this is the quilt of the pattern that Liz designed. That
This is
we're
Wanderlust, we're
This is
calling
called
it.
Wanderlust, yes, and everyone's fabrics are different, and it looks totally different, but it's the same design.
That's what's always really fun. When we come to these retreats, we have 50 women who, not everyone works the pattern. You can use
That's
your
true.
retreat weekend however you'd like to do. We always feature a pattern, and everyone gets it. It's part of your retreat. And you can either choose to work on that, or you can bring a project that you've already
Right.
worked on, or you have something that you want to do.
Right.
But what's really great is a lot of people do make it. And what you see, I put up a sample, and then we get to see 30 different creations with the same pattern, but people will tweak it, make it their own, change colors, and it's really exciting to see what people do with it. That's probably my favorite part, as to the point I put up the sample, to see how people make it better, frankly. I love
That's really
it.
good. That's really great. Well, I want to thank you both so
Thank you
much
for
helping
having
me
us.
with
Thank
this
you.
interview. And now more people know who you are and what you're all about. And again, I'll give all the information down below. And if you liked this video, please click like and subscribe and the little bell to notify when I do another video. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.